Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of the Rectified podcast. Today, my guest is Olivia Lovenmark. Hey, the founder of Duchess Cocktails. Such an exciting product, and we're going to talk all about it. But before we get started, Olivia, tell us a little bit about your journey from tech to cocktails. What happened in between?
Yeah, it's not been a straight line. It's not been a linear career, that's for sure. I always wanted my career started basically as thinking I was going to be a fashion designer. I'll give you the Coles notes, but I thought I was going to be a
Okay.
fashion designer, and so I went to school to get a degree in fashion design and technology, and then realized after a couple years that wasn't really my path. I ended up finding my way to a school where I was studying comms and PR, and then working for
Okay.
Best Buy Canada's head office here in Vancouver, and sort of introduced me to the tech world. And so that got my feet wet there. I ended up thinking I might go into finance, got my CSC designation to trade securities, thought I was going to do that, but then ended up going into fintech and ended up spending quite a lot of years working, contracting for Silicon Valley companies and New York-based tech startups that were really focused in the digital asset space.
Hmm.
So this was before, the sort of crypto market really got hyped up, and I was really
Yeah.
there for the technology. I thought it was deeply interesting, and this
Hmm.
idea of sort of diversifying how we approach finance. Anyway, I was in New York in 2019. This is while I'm still working in tech. I
Okay.
was on vacation and I was in New York, and my now husband, then boyfriend, was in Montauk on a boys' trip. And so I said, I'll just come and hang out in Manhattan and just have great cocktails and go shopping for a week while you're doing that. And I
Hmm.
ended up having a lot of cosmopolitans while I was there. And
Yeah.
so on the plane home, at all the beautiful hotel bars, Carlisle and the Lowell, and so
Yeah.
on the plane ride home, they offer you gin, vodka, wine, and I was like, oh, I don't want that. I want a Cosmo. I'm really feeling Cosmos right now. I wish I wish I could have that. I wish someone would bottle it. And
Hmm.
after a couple of glasses of wine on the plane, I started thinking like, I could probably do it. You know, I see other people do this. How hard can it be? It is
Yeah.
hard, but
Yeah.
it's not easy. But, ignorance is bliss when you're starting a company, I think. And I think it
So
can be
true.
a major asset.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I got home, I did my research. Sure enough, there was room in the market for premiumization in the RTD space, the ready to drink space. And so I went for it, and it took a year and a half to come to market. So December of
Hmm.
2020, we launched Duchess Cosmo. And from there, we've scaled that product line to 10 SKUs and just the 12% Duchess Cocktails, the bottled collection we have. We've got a dry collection. We've got Spritz launching, which is a canned 5%. That's for this spring. And now our company, Coop Beverages, does more than that. We've also launched a tonic line that's hitting grocery shelves right now. And we also are a manufacturer for other brands as well. So
Yeah.
one little
Yeah.
bottle has turned into
Yes.
this like big operation.
Yeah. Cosmopolitans. I kind of know which era you're being
It's a 90s,
influenced.
it's a 90s drink. Yeah,
For
it's
sure,
fabulous.
for sure. Major Sex and the City vibes. Everybody was drinking Cosmos during those years.
100%.
So I kind of see where the inspiration came from and why you were drinking those Cosmos. If you're enjoying this conversation and want to make sure you never miss an episode, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. We cover stories, insights, and practical strategies from founders and product based businesses that you won't hear anywhere else. If you know someone who's building a brand or thinking about starting one, share this episode with them. They'll thank you later. Tell us a little bit more about Duchess. You have really cute bottles.
Thank
Very
you.
like I think I'm your person. I think you're targeting me because like immediately the minute I saw the brand, I'm like, oh my God, cute bottles, nice brand. The whole thing is
Yeah.
very attractive to people like me. So tell me a little bit more about who that person is and who's the ideal person who's drinking Duchess cocktails, whether alcoholic or non-alcoholic.
Yeah, it's someone who, and generally our demographic is women. It's probably
Yeah.
like 85% women and 15% men.
Mm.
Although we make it for everybody, but
Yes.
it is and it's obviously marketed in a sort of fashion oriented way, which does appeal to women.
Yeah.
But the person who's drinking this is someone who is probably really enjoys a good cocktail out of the bar, or if they go to a beautiful lounge or a restaurant, they enjoy a martini or a nice cocktail or a nice glass of wine. when they go to liquor stores, they're predominantly purchasing a good wine. And so
Mm-hmm.
as I looked at what was the offering in the liquor stores, I'm seeing, and this is in 2019, and
Yeah.
even today, I was seeing good wines and good spirits, but I wasn't seeing good cocktails on the shelf in 2019. I
Yeah.
wasn't seeing something that was pretty, that resonated with me as someone who does enjoy having a cocktail. And the premise then became, we need a cocktail that is aesthetic, that's going to fit my Instagram feed, something I want to share, is going to catch my eye, but it has to
Yeah.
be quality. It has to be lower in sugar. It has to be real juice. It has to be taste good. It has to taste like a real cocktail. That's why it's 12% ABV, because this is truly like having a bar quality cocktail at home. And I just thought,
Mm-hmm.
if I want this, and it's
Yeah.
missing for me, it's missing for
Yeah.
other people too. And
Yes.
so far, so good.
Yeah. Can you show us one of the bottles you have
Oh, yeah.
here? Just like an up close.
Okay, so these are two of our newer flavors. So this is the watermelon martini. The other dark
Okay.
is our strawberry daiquiri. But yeah, this is one of our newer ones. And so this is a custom frosted glass bottle.
Yeah.
We're just about to customize the caps, which is really exciting, but small things for us are exciting to make changes. But we really focus on fashion-centric branding. We
Mm-hmm.
actually worked with an agency to do some of the branding as our first sort of go, and they came back with what looked much more resembled beer. And I
Mm.
didn't want that. And so we ended
No,
up working with
exactly.
someone who had worked previously with Aritzia and other big design names. And she came back with this, and it's perfect. Has a really nice feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ready to drink market nowadays is really wild. It's incredibly crowded. Whenever I go to a store, whether it's alcoholic or not, there's like 50 different cans and I don't know what to choose.
Mm.
And it's really like what you were saying. This bottle is a little bit different. I mean, it's not a can, first of all, it's a
Yeah.
bottle, and it doesn't look like the traditional glass beer bottle or any kind of beverage or like a cola shaped bottle or something. So it kind of stands out. So if I'm there and I'm looking among all these 50 brands, I'm going to be able to like say, "Oh my god, this is interesting. What is it?" Even if I don't know the brand or anything. So that's probably one of the secret weapons, let's say.
It it definitely is. It's a double-edged sword. It is what draws people to the product if they don't know us. The packaging and the
Mhm.
color and the aesthetic draws people in, and then the liquid brings them back. But the
Yeah.
other side of that is that this is an incredibly expensive product to produce.
Yeah.
And so it sort of feels like we've created our own moat in that, from a business perspective, and that no
Yes.
one's really going to replicate this because it's annoying to produce with a glass bottle. It's not easy. Cans are way faster, they're way more
Yeah.
efficient, but, this is much more of a manual process, although we
Probably
are seeing
cheaper also.
cans are way cheaper,
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
way, 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 way cheaper, and so
Yes.
that is a factor in the product and what it retails for,
Mhm.
but again, like, to your point, if you're looking for something beautiful, you wanna celebrate a friend's birthday, you're gonna have your friends over for
Yeah.
dinner, you're celebrating, a personal milestone, like, maybe you don't wanna crack open a can of 6% vodka seltzer. Maybe you wanna pour yourself a beautiful cocktail into a martini and really
Yeah.
celebrate the moment.
Yeah. It can even be aesthetic. Like I imagine it on like a table with all the bottles that are pink. It could be something really, really nice. I'm planning an event in my mind.
Yeah.
uh, But yeah, I mean, we were talking in a previous episode with a founder in the CPG world. He has a protein brand, and he was saying how his world is all about the pennies. Like every
Mm,
single cent that he can save is like major, especially that he sells into like the big stores, the
yep.
big supermarkets, and stuff like that. Is it the same in your category?
Yeah. Yeah, we're at that level now too, where every single
Mm,
penny makes a difference on the individual unit price for sure.
yeah.
From the label to the bottle to the liquid to the cap to the tray or the box that the product's being packed in. 100%. Even what's the cost of tape that's being
Yeah.
used on the box? All of those things, you're
Wow.
constantly trying to figure out how do I get to a place that makes sense for the price. Obviously, it gets a little bit challenging as the economy does what it does and inflation rises and you see a rise in prices across the board. We have not raised our prices in a long time. And I don't really want to have
Yeah.
to go in and raise prices, but at some point we're going to have to look at it. But yes, we're very conscious of that.
Um, Tell me a little bit about a typical day for you. You're a mom
Mhm.
and you are the founder of Duchess, and you have, I'm sure, 5,000 things to do in a day. Just out of curiosity, just to maybe inspire some people about what happens, what really happens behind the scenes in
Yeah.
a founder's life, in a women owned, women led business, also.
Well, I mean, no day is really the same, but there's some general
Yeah.
structure that I've tried to create in my life so that I can be effective. But that structure hasn't always been there. And the business started 5 years ago when I was still working in another job. And so this
Okay.
was an off the side of my desk kind of thing. I actually recruited my then boyfriend, now husband, into the business, and he worked for free while I supported us in my tech
He
job.
did a lot of things. Huh?
Yeah, he's been, unfortunately, we're still working well together. It's going well.
Yeah.
But the arc of my experience in the company has not been straightforward. Like,
Hmm.
at that point, I was off the side of my desk, so on weekends and evenings. And then I quit my job and I was able to go full time. And so that lasted for not even a year. And then I was pregnant, and pregnancy hit me
Mm.
really, really hard. And so the reality was I had to kind of step back a little bit because like the tiredness and the exhaustion really hit me. And it
Yeah.
was really hard to work. And also, I had a very big baby, and I didn't fit at work anymore. If I'm being totally honest, like that's the experience of a
Yes.
female founder. Like I'm trying
Yeah.
to go up and down the stairs, and I'm anyway.
Yeah. I
And
understand.
then and yeah, and then comes the part of actually having your child, and how do you balance? There's no such thing as balance, but how do you have the
How
time?
do you
Right.
manage that? Let's say.
Yeah, exactly. How do you
Yeah.
manage it? And
Yeah.
the reality is it's not well. Like the
Hmm.
true honest response is it wasn't my best. And
Yeah.
I some things have to drop. And sometimes that's work. And so sometimes, there was a phase there where we moved slower than I would have liked
Hmm.
because I had like, highly
Yeah.
competitive priorities
Mm.
and I had to put my baby first there. So today it's looking a lot better. We've got a much larger team. The team is continuing to grow. And so
Amazing.
today I have a better structure. I have help, which is the biggest thing. And I need to be honest about that. I'm not doing this all on my
Of
own. I
course.
have I have help. And having a nanny who's a part of the family at this point has been the biggest impact in allowing me to come to work and be focused at work.
Hmm.
And so the average day is she picks up my son at 9 o'clock. They go off to music class or the play gym or whatever, the science world, whatever they have lined up. So I get
Yeah.
to work usually about 9:30, and then it's straight into emails and whatever marketing needs are going on and all the new product launches. And frankly, I rarely take lunch, and I eat at my desk usually, just because I have to
Yeah.
leave by 4:30 then to go
Yeah.
meet the nanny and meet my son. So I have a very condensed work hour or work day,
Yeah.
but it is every minute
Hmm.
counts during those
Hmm.
7
Yeah.
hours that I have. Yeah.
I mean, just like every founder I spoke to, regardless whether they're men or women, it doesn't matter. There's always they always need help, regardless if they have kids or if they don't have kids. You just can't do it alone. Like you need someone who's working with you, whether at home in your situation you have the nanny or your husband who helped you at some point, or they have like a business partner, whatever it is. There's always this is always the answer. Like you need help and somebody, like you can't do it all. We're human beings and we have
Yeah.
a level of capacity and we can't exceed that, which is very interesting because when you start a new business, you kind of think that you can do it all.
Yep.
You have the illusion. We're a
Yeah.
bit delusional, right?
You have to be, otherwise you'll never start a
Yeah,
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. There's definitely a level of delusion, but I I think the reality is logically we all know we need help. And
Hmm.
we all know that, like, regardless of whether you're a CEO or a first time founder, like you need people to rely on, and you also
Yeah.
need people who could do things better than you. And so the
Hmm.
idea of kind of doing it yourself, or that has kept, like, in my experience, if I try
Impossible.
to do too many things
Yeah.
myself, it keeps me small. Like I am not
Yeah.
good at everything, so I better hire someone who's better at those things than me, or
Yeah.
frees me up and allows me to spend time on other things.
Yeah.
There are still moments in life where I feel like it's a bit uncomfortable if I admit that I have a nanny. Like there's still a level of discomfort around admitting that for some reason.
Yeah.
Not on my side, but
No, it's cultural. I
it
think
is
it depends on the
cultural.
cultures. Yeah.
Yeah, but the reality is there's just no way to succeed in growing a business if
Mm,
you're not in the business. So
100%.
it's a trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of being surrounded with people, at work also, I'm sure you have people helping you with certain things. What was your first hire?
Our production manager. Yeah,
Okay.
we did things differently than most
Yeah.
brands, than most
Yeah.
beverage brands. We didn't start a brand and then rely on a product manufacturer or like a co-packer to
Yeah.
develop the product, and then we just sort of focused on sales and marketing. That is how it initially started, but it became very
Hmm.
clear very quickly within about 9 months of launching the product of Duchess Cosmo that the demand was high, but we did not have reliable production. And
Mm,
so we were selling out and then having long gaps until we could get new product, and then it would sell out again. And so it was a terrible place to be as a business.
yeah.
And so just 9 months into having our company, we decided we have to make a decision. We either shut the whole thing down because we cannot get reliable production, because literally nobody in Western Canada
Yeah.
can do small glass bottles, or the Pacific
Yeah.
Northwest of the US. I've asked everybody. And
Okay.
so we ended up building our own factory. It was shut down or build a factory.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, and we have never looked for outside capital. So
Mm,
self-funded, built this factory, obviously for the
yeah.
factory, we took like non-dilutive funding or debt to do that, to support that.
Yes.
That's a big
Yes.
undertaking. And then we've just recently moved into our much bigger factory. So we've sized
Hmm.
up, but um, it was definitely not your average sort of approach to having a beverage company.
Yeah. That's interesting because the previous guest also had the same dilemma. He
Oh,
didn't go with
really?
the Yeah, he didn't go with the co-packer because he had a completely new, like innovative product. And then they ended up creating their own facilities. And then
Wow.
all the stories, with the certifications. And I'm sure you went through that too.
Yep, all the things from the municipal level, provincial, federal, all the, coastal health and getting all
Yeah.
your permitting for selling and producing alcohol. Yes, it's not a light task.
Yes, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about marketing. Let's forget about the challenges of manufacturing and go into the marketing. Um, how do you spread the word around your brand? How do people find out that you exist in general?
So, I mean, social media helps that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
to date, it's predominantly been organic. It's
hmm,
really been so organic reach on social, and we've only just started really like leaning into TikTok. It was mostly just Instagram,
yeah,
and then just word of mouth. That was, it maybe sounds a little bit like trite perhaps, but like that's the reality. Is when we first
yeah,
started, because we were self-funded and we were also building a factory, we did not have extra money for marketing. We
yeah.
didn't do ads. We've done a few little month here and there for ads, but we've never really
Hmm.
had a full program, which we're just about to launch now as we scale.
Yeah.
But frankly, it was word of mouth. We would do as many tastings as we could possibly do in stores to introduce the
Hmm.
product to people. But it's just people seeing it on shelves, liking the packaging and purchasing it and sharing it with their friends. And one of the best
Yeah.
things for us has been that consumers are excited about the look and the taste, and so they host dinner parties, or they bring it instead of bringing a bottle of wine. It's their alternative as a
Hmm.
hostess gift, and so that
Yeah.
shares. So that's had a really big impact for us. But we are looking forward to investing more in ads and sort of more traditional
Yeah.
channels.
You mentioned stores. Where are you available? Where can we find you?
Almost everywhere.
Yeah. What is everywhere?
Depending on what province you live, to be fair.
Yeah.
So we have alcohol and we have dry.
Yeah.
And so the dry is more readily available across grocery, across Ontario and British Columbia, and certainly some in the prairies. Our
Hmm.
alcohol is in the Maritimes, BC and Alberta. And then we're currently working on LCBO for Ontario and in Quebec as well. But
We're
it's sort of a
waiting.
province by province situation.
We're waiting for it here in Quebec.
Yeah, we hope to
It's
be there soon.
How challenging is it to sell alcohol between provinces? Like, yes, it's one country, but I'm sure every province is different. Tell me a little
Yeah.
bit more about that.
Yeah. So there's a couple factors. One is the liquor board you're dealing with. and whether or not there is a liquor board. Alberta, for example, does not have a liquor board; it's all private.
Okay.
So it's figuring out like what the entry point for each province is, and then the second piece is having an agent. My understanding is that in markets like Ontario, where it's only government, it's just the LCBO,
Yes.
you have to have a representative that hopefully has some familiarity with the LCBO and has worked with them before. So we're currently looking at securing an agent in that province, but it's like dealing with a different company. Each province is like dealing with a different company.
Yeah.
It's figuring out, like in British Columbia, so you're dealing with the LDB for all your distribution and for delivery into BC liquor stores. They also do distribution into private, but it's dealing with government then for submitting for approval to be listed in BC liquor. So you have to be approved. In Alberta, for example, you don't have to be approved. You just have to have your product stored, and then liquor stores can go in and get it
Just like
distributed.
a free market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quebec, I believe, is government,
Yes.
and Ontario is government. So,
SAQ. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, SAQ. So you have to, figure out what the timelines are, which each of those liquor boards with SAQ,
Yes.
when are the calls for your product, for your category. For us, we're called mixed cocktail or one pour or refreshment, figuring out when they're accepting samples and applications. And then there's multi-step process. And then you might get selected to go to tasting where they actually want samples from you. And then they might decide yay or nay at that point. If they decide yes, then you'll go on to the next step, ensuring that you can deliver the quantity by the right time. So usually the lead time is minimum 6 months up to a year and a half. So if you get declined by a liquor board like the LCBO, which has a long lead time, a year and a half, you could be waiting like another year to apply. So then it's 2.5 years out that you might be on shelves. And then an additional factor is there's often a massive cost associated with it. So what's the marketing cost that you're committing to push product? And what sales targets are you going to agree to? And are they realistic? And if you don't meet the target, are you going to get kicked out of that province and be sort of like, is it a done deal?
God.
Super high stakes, and it's very competitive. And it's a lot, especially for newer brands like us that don't have, deep pockets to support things. But we've been really fortunate where we have product, we've been really successful.
And do they have like specific requirements on what to have on the labels? Like, I'm pretty sure you need to have French also on the labels.
Yeah.
Also, is every province different than the other?
No, there's a federal organization that manages the requirements for labels. So we just follow those guidelines. So we have French and English and all the required things, and then it's suitable across provinces. That being said, it is interesting to see some of the products that are imported and on liquor shelves do not comply. So there seems to be a standard for Canadian products, and sometimes the standards are not always held. But to be fair, on the other side, it is very hard to manage that at scale. It's just a complex and there's just a lot. There's a lot of aspects to the liquor business. Yeah.
And if you decide, for example, you sell your products on your own website, obviously, I've seen that. If, for example, I'm in Montreal and I want to order them, can you sell across it's not borders, but from one province to the other without having issues? Or do you also need something to be able to go to another province?
No, we are able to ship across. We ship across the country too. We have customers all over the country. It's just the cost of shipping a heavy liquid across the country is not cheap. And so we subsidize the shipment costs as much as we can. But I know there's some sticker shock sometimes if you're shipping something to Nova Scotia or to Montreal. It can be a little bit costly.
Either way, if you're curious and you want to try it, we're going to link to the website.
Please do.
So that they can order. If they're in BC, where can they find it?
So you can find our alcohol products at almost every private liquor store. You can find us at BC Liquor Store. They've listed our Cosmopolitan and our Lemon Drop. You can find our dry at lots of grocery chains like Choices, IGA, Fresh Treats, Stong's, Welks. You can get us in Ontario at Fortino's and Longo's on the grocery side of things. And there's tons more. We also have a really robust list of independent grocers that carry us. And that has been awesome because we're starting to see customers really
Yeah,
seek out the independent grocers and markets for new and
true,
interesting products. And so those have been great places of
true.
discovery for us. So if we're not in one, ask your local store to carry us, and
Yeah,
they can bring in
yeah.
at least the dry.
hmm I mean, I kind of, given the vibe of your product and given the shape of the bottle and all the branding and everything, I kind of see it in like a smaller store where
Mhm.
somebody goes to find new product. I kind of like it makes sense
Yeah,
even here in Quebec. I don't know if you could do that other than with the SIQ, if you can go to other products, something to explore
yeah,
in the
definitely.
future. Uh, Okay, so we're gonna do like a quick lightning round, a few questions, and we're gonna wrap this up. What is your best cocktail food pairing?
Oh, I love a cosmopolitan and a cheeseburger. Like love.
Oh, okay, interesting. How did you
I
come up
mean,
with that?
um, so my husband makes really good smash burgers, which we discovered
Okay,
like 10 years ago in Paris.
yeah,
And they've become like more popular, so more readily available now. But a good smash burger with a Cosmo, there's something about the tanginess of the tartness of the Cosmo with
yeah.
like the cheese, and like it's just really it.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of a vibe. Like it's
I
really
should try
good.
it.
Yeah. But then also I really like pairing like for dessert. I like pouring our lemon drop over ice cream. That's really
Mm,
delicious.
yeah,
Um, I
that
mean, it's
would
hard to go
be,
wrong with any of the
yeah,
cocktails.
yeah.
They're all really, really tasty.
All right. What's one marketing tool or app that you can't live without? Or business tool, if
Oh gosh. It's kind of basic. Like I live and die by my calendar and my email, but that's not an exciting answer. Pinterest, I would say, is really, really
oh,
big.
yeah.
I despise the rise of AI images on Pinterest. That is totally
Mm,
ruining the experience.
yeah,
But Pinterest is such a source of inspiration, and I love to see what other people are doing. And I like to be able to pull different elements of different images, different things together, and make it my own. So
yeah.
that's huge.
hmm If you could put any celebrity's hand holding a Duchess bottle on a billboard, who would it be?
You know who I think would be really great for this is who's the host of a lot of those Bravo TV shows? Andy. Sorry. Uh
Andy,
um he's like the host of the Real
Andy
Housewives shows.
Cohen? Andy
Yeah.
Cohen? Yeah.
Yeah, Andy Cohen. Yeah, I feel like he would actually be.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
always there's no doubt there are a lot of amazing, especially women celebrities or actresses or music stars or whatever who'd be great. But I feel like with his personality and his
Yeah.
access and his network, like it would just be a
Now
great fit.
that you said it, I kind of see it. It works.
Like I think he needs to
Yeah.
be drinking a Duchess Cosmo on the
Yeah.
set on the like the reunions. Like they should all have a Duchess Cosmo in front of them at the reunion.
Exactly. Exactly. What's the biggest misconception? Let me repeat. What's the biggest misconception people have about the beverage industry?
There's two things I would say. The first thing is that I think people probably think it's going to cost more than it actually does to start a beverage.
Mm,
Now that's not considering marketing costs. That's just the hard costs of producing something. If you want to produce something in a relatively small batch just to get started, it's quite realistic. When I first got started, I put my savings into it, and
yeah.
this is 2019. I think I invested roughly $50,000 into getting started at just producing the product. I had thought just
hmm
without any research, I'm like, it's $1 million business. It's probably gonna be like $1 million,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
obviously don't have. But it's a lot more feasible. And the second part to that question is that it takes way more effort than I think a lot of new beverage founders expect to get pull through. Well, A, to get
Mm,
product on shelves to sell it, and then
yeah.
B, to get pull through. So
Mm,
it's that people overestimate the entry point and underestimate what it takes to actually scale and grow.
yeah. So true. Which takes me to the last question. What's one piece of advice for any woman listening and has a crazy idea, but is stuck in her 9 to 5 and she wants to do something with her crazy idea?
Okay, well, I'll give this advice, assuming that you're not also managing children on the side, because
Yeah.
that really eats up into the nights, and the nights are when you kind of start something.
Yeah.
And that is that there's sort of two sides. One, be audacious and confident in what you want to do. I genuinely believe there's always room to do something different and better than what is currently there. Consumers love newness. So if you
Yeah.
have a gut instinct and a passion for something, lean into it. And the other part of that is back it up with data. So if someone thinks your
Mm,
idea doesn't make sense, or you're pushing back against someone who could be a door opener for you or give you financing or something, you have to know your numbers and know why the idea makes sense,
mm,
and be able to consider it at scale.
yeah.
And I guess with that is to kind of know, is this something that I would just do as a passion and I want to monetize the passion? In which case it's probably going to exist at a smaller scale. Or is this a product that could be easily distributed internationally as well as nationally? And so you kind of know the mindset of what you're going after. People love
Mm,
to ask you, what's your end game? People always want to know,
yeah.
what are you after with all this? Or you want to be acquired? Do you want to scale? Like, what's the goal?
Hmm.
And so understanding where you're going, I think, is really important.
Mm, yeah. The end game question, that's a whole other conversation, because I always have so many people who, for example, book a call to work with me or ask me questions via DMs on Instagram or whatever, just to work with me. And then I ask them this question a lot, because some people just want to do the drop shipping thing, bring some stuff from whatever, China or something, and they just want to make money like on the side, or like a quick, I don't know how, quick buck. And
Yep.
then other people, either they want to build something for longevity, to, for their kids, or to help out their families or whatever, or to get acquired. And these are mainly the people who do it with all their hearts. Like, they put everything in it. And mainly these are the people I work with. So I kind of get where this question comes from. But yeah, it's important to know where do you want to go and why you're doing it also.
Yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
And like
Hmm.
for us, that has changed a little bit. Like when I first
Yeah.
started, I thought, oh, an acquisition would be so cool. And I was also coming
Yeah.
from tech, where that is
Yes.
playbook.
Everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but as we've grown and we were sort of forced into manufacturing, and now as we've built out our manufacturing, now the game has changed for us. The playbook has
Yes.
changed. It's no longer just build a brand, get distribution, sell it.
Yeah.
Now this feels like more like a legacy play. Like it feels like
Hmm.
a broader play where we have now we're conceiving of the idea of like building our own another factory on the East Coast.
Yes.
And what does it look like for us to partner with big brands who need manufacturing in Canada, which is we're already getting the demand.
Hmm.
So it can change, but it's just good to
Yeah.
know like what scale you want to play at and how
Yeah.
committed. Like, are you a passive entrepreneur? Or are you an invest? Like, are you in a
Hmm.
day to day?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, every business changes and it evolves, and then you will get different ideas about what to do with what you have also. So it's
Exactly.
it's it's only normal. All right, Olivia, thank you so much for this great conversation, and I hope to see your brand soon here in
Me too.
Quebec.
Me too. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me.
of course. And to all the listeners, I'll be back next week with a new episode.